We have 4 senators that I want to focus on for a moment. 4 senators, because frankly on the Democrat side, the rest of them are hopeless. They're just hopeless. The party has become a party of soft tyranny, of radical statists. That's what the Democrat Party has become. But 4 of them come from red states. They keep voting with the radical statists and keep claiming that they're not radical nor statists. Blanche Lincoln of Arkansas, Ben Nelson of Nebraska, Mary Landrieu of Louisiana, Evan Bayh of Indiana. These are the biggest frauds in Washington. I detest the ideological statists, but I know who they are and I know where they stand, and so do their constituents. These 4 come from red states, and they've managed to get elected by telling lie after lie about who they are and what they do when they get to Washington. These 4 are among the biggest spending politicians in world history. They have voted down the line with Barack Obama's agenda, including Saturday night. Down the line with Barack Obama's agenda. They have yet to stand up against it. And yet they want you folks in Arkansas and Nebraska and Louisiana and Indiana to believe that they're moderates, they're thoughtful, that they're just considering things. They're not ready to jump so quickly. They want to have a debate. Have a debate on what? On Harry Reid's bill? They're going to try and make the bill better. Why? Why not destroy it? Why not vote to kill it? That's the best way to make it better. And then you can propose something else. And the reason is this. Blanche Lincoln, Ben Nelson, Mary Landrieu, and Evan Bayh are worse than used car salesmen. And I apologize to used car salesmen. You see, there are no truth in advertising laws that apply to politicians like this. There are no real fact checkers in the media who look at politicians like this. They're the most deceitful and dishonest of them all, because they pretend to be something with their constituents that they simply are not. Blanche Lincoln has voted the same way as Ted Kennedy in the past. So is Ben Nelson, so is Mary Landrieu, so is Evan Bayh. Remember that ultra-left-wing activist Acorn-related, ACLU-related judge that was nominated to the circuit bench by Obama, David Hamilton? Remember that? Well, Lincoln, Nelson, and Landrieu and Bayh voted for him. They voted to put on our circuit courts a radical leftist. Does that sound like a moderate to you in any respect? All 4 voted for the phony stimulus bill. Hundreds of millions of dollars in fraud and waste and abuse that never was intended to help create jobs. Doesn't even make any sense. The government's going to print money and borrow money and take money from the job producers to create jobs. Does that make sense to you? Well, Lincoln and Nelson and Landrieu and Bayh voted for it. Now, they want you to picture them as, rubbing their foreheads, having difficult long days and nights. The only thing they worry about is re-election. And let me boldly say, not the future of this country. As a matter of fact, I will extend that. Anybody who votes for this stuff is not worried about the future of this country. And you know that, and I'll get to that more broadly later. So what do we do about this? We're already doing something about this. We just had 2 big elections in New Jersey and Virginia. The people spoke. There were other elections in other states that many of us aren't involved in. The people spoke decisively. And the people are going to speak decisively again in November. Everybody knows it. You and I know it. The people are pissed off. And they know what's going on now. And there is no way that Blanche Lincoln in Arkansas, Ben Nelson in Nebraska, Mary Landrieu in Louisiana, and Evan Bayh in Indiana are going to be able to hide any longer. Their media friends have been weakened. There are alternative media sources now. The focus is on them, and they are going to be punished politically and thrown the hell out of office. And so too are others. As a matter of fact, one phony moderate Democrat from Kansas City, this Congressman Moore, the Kansas City area, just announced he's not running again. He's in a red district. He poses as a moderate. He sees the writing on the wall. He's going to get creamed. And so are the rest of you phonies and fakes. We're going to track you down and vote you the hell out of office. We only have 535 members of Congress, 535 people who decide if our children live free or live enslaved with massive debt. 535. You're not going to be able to cower and hide from us anymore. We're going to find you. And we're going to work on it, and we've been working on it. This is a difficult process. It's a long process. We have a huge country with a lot of people, with all kinds of backgrounds and belief systems. But we know who we are, we conservatives. We conservatives stand on our founders' shoulders. I've said it 1,000 times. I've written about it. And the word is out. I said and used the phrase conservatism is on the ascendancy months and months ago. And you hear it all the time now. And this is a good thing. Because it is. Because when conservatism is on the ascendancy, liberty's on the march. These politicians who think they can cram this stuff down and get away with it, oh, they're sorely mistaken. And let me tell you something, Mr. President Obama. When we punish your party at the polls in November, we're going to start containing your agenda, too. There are many bills that go through Congress that can have amendments, riders. We can use guerrilla tactics to undo whatever you do. And that must be our agenda. That must be our focus. Because we are not only alienated from the elites, they appear to be alienated from us because they don't give a damn what we say. Well, you know what? In the end, that's their loss. Now, I've been involved in the political process for 40 years as an outsider. Ronald Reagan. I was a very young man. Well, young enough. 1976. I was 19 years old. I worked in that Reagan campaign against Gerald Ford. I ran for delegate in the state of Pennsylvania. I was committed to the conservative cause, and I still am, and I am every waking day of my life. I'm making a point. I'm getting to a point. In 1980, I continued the work in the Reagan campaign against George H.W. Bush's efforts and the efforts of others. We finally won. It took Reagan 3 times to win the Republican nomination and eventually the presidency. He persisted. That's what this is about, persistence. And you know what else it's about? It's about getting behind very serious people at the local, state, and federal level. Serious people with serious ideas, committed to conservative principles, and marshaling whatever forces you can to support them. Not with marches in Washington, D.C. Not with marches anywhere. No, with the voters in your neighborhood, your friends, your family, your coworkers, your community. This is where the organizing has to be. Spending millions of dollars and tens of millions of man-hours organizing more marches and rallies, that's not the answer. The answer is voting. The answer is not a third party, as I will explain later in the program. That is a disaster. You can't name one successful third-party candidate, not only in modern American history, in American history. Ronald Reagan was pressed when he didn't win the nomination in 1968 to go third party. He rejected it. He was pressed again in 1976 to go third party. He absolutely rejected it.